You know, as a networker, maybe one of the most frequently asked questions that I've heard from a lot of people is whether the business or the company that they're planning to join, is it a legitimate company or is it a pyramiding company? Now, even as a networker of maybe even a couple of years experience, it may still be difficult to distinguish between the two. So what I'm going to do at this session is basically explain in the simplest terms possible how you can tell whether a company is actually a legitimate direct selling company or whether it's another type of business that maybe you should not be joining. Now, sometime maybe I would say about 7-8 years ago, I remember reading on the webpage of the Direct Selling Association of the Philippines an 8-point test. Okay, this 8-point test was actually written and conceptualized by the former president of the Direct Selling Association of the Philippines. His name is Mr. Josiah Go. He's a very respected writer, columnist, businessman, and this has since been discussed in many fora, and I believe that this has helped a lot of people in distinguishing between a legitimate company and a pyramiding company. Now, the very first thing that we have to understand about this is that among the 8 questions that you ask, all of the 8 questions must be answered by a yes for you to know that the company you're trying to analyze is a legitimate company, legitimate network marketing or direct selling company. So the first question asked by this 8-point test is there a product? Now think about it. Is the company that you're trying to evaluate selling you a product or selling you something else? There are many companies that will sell you, for example, discount coupons or maybe even certificates. Now, if you think about it, the certificate or the discount coupon has no real value. Is it something that you can take somewhere else, maybe to a store or even a pawn shop, and get money out of it? I doubt if you can get money out of a certificate or a discount coupon. So the product that this company is selling must have a real value. Now, for example, I am wearing a Bernhard Meyer Swiss watch, which was produced by our own company in Switzerland. Now, this is a product with a real value, and this is something that I'm very happy and proud to own. Now, these are the types of products that clearly will distinguish a legit company from a not legitimate company. As I had said, try to evaluate the value of the product that you are buying. Is it something that you'd like to own? Is it something that you need? If you feel that it is of real value, then by all means, go ahead and do that. But remember that the answer to this question is yes. Is there a product? The answer is yes. Okay? So now let's move on to the second question. And the second question is, are commissions paid on the sale of products and not on the registration or entry fees? As we all know in qnet, there is a registration fee normally charged the moment that you sign up. As you sign up, you are given a tracking center or a position in the computer system of qnet. Now, every time that you enroll a prospect, okay, although they pay a fee to qnet, you as a sponsor are not entitled to any commission. Why? Because that is merely a registration. When does an IR in qnet actually earn a commission? You earn a commission the moment that your prospect or your downlines, for that matter, direct or indirect, actually purchase products. Why is that? Because there is a profit built into the price of every product. So when qnet sells a product, there is a profit made by qnet. Now, because of that profit, qnet is then able to pay commissions to the distributors, to its IRs. Now, again, think about the company that you're evaluating. Is this company able to pay you on the sale of products, or are they paying you for the recruitment of individuals? Let's be very careful about this, okay? The moment that a company pays commissions for the recruitment of distributors, then stay away. Chances are these companies are probably doubtful at the very least, okay? So the first 2 questions are now answerable by yes. Now let me move on to the third question according to this 8-point test of the Direct Selling Association of the Philippines. And that third question is the intent to sell a product, not a position? Again, Okay? Now, in many companies out there will actually sell you positions. Let me try to explain what I mean. I've heard of companies, for example, that will give you as much as even 31 tracking centers, or what other people call business centers, okay? Now, if you are an experienced networker, okay, you will realize that for every tracking center that you try to build, especially if it's a binary, for example, okay, you will always have the number of tracking centers plus 1 legs to build, which means if you have 1 tracking center to build, you have 1 plus 1 or 2 legs to build. If you have 7 tracking centers, for example, it's 7 plus 1 or 8 legs to build. In my earlier example, if they give you 31 tracking centers, then you have 31 plus 1 or 32 legs to build. Now, I don't know of any networker who has actually built 32 legs. Okay? The normal individual will probably be able to build 2. A lot of people have difficulty in even building 2. Now, the moment that companies offer you a lot of these business centers or tracking centers, then be mindful, because it is something that is very difficult, if not close to impossible, to build. Okay? So you should be careful about those positions being sold. Instead, focus on the products. Is the product something of value? Is it something that they are focusing on? Is there a lot of focus on telling you about the products, the benefits you get out of it? Because if there is, then that's a very, very good possibility that that company that you're evaluating is a legitimate company. Okay, so again, is the intent to sell a product or a position? You should always go for the company that sells a product, not the position. So the answer to that third question, at least as far as qnet is concerned, is yes. qnet focuses on the sale of the product, not the position. And let's not forget, by the way, that the position is something that had already been given to you by qnet the moment that you signed up. In fact, the moment that you signed up and became an IR and paid the registration fee, you already had the position, right? So that is something that is not at all connected with the sale of the product. Okay, so think about that. So far, I've discussed 3 points, and the answer to all 3 questions has been a yes. Now let's move on to the 4th question of the 8-point test. And the 4th question is there no direct correlation between the number of recruits and compensation? Again, as I had said earlier, in qnet, you do not get paid for the total number of people that you are able to bring into the business as merely registered IRs, right? Even if they had paid a small fee as a registration fee, you still don't get a dime in commissions for the recruitment. Now, which means that even if you were to bring in, say, 20, 30, 40 direct referrals, and all they did was sign up and pay the registration fee, you don't get paid for it, right? However, if you sold one product to any individual, whether it was a retail customer or another prospect who decides to become an IR, you do get a commission. So I'm trying to explain to you that there is no direct correlation between the number of people that come into the business and the number of products sold. So your commissions clearly depend only on the number of products sold by qnet, because this is where the profits of qnet come from, and from these profits or from these revenues, they are able to pay your commissions. Now, in the next episode that you should be watching, I will be able to explain to you the remaining 4 points in the 8-point test. And these, I suggest you anticipate, and maybe you should clearly watch, because then you will be able to find out in its entirety how it is to be able to distinguish between a legitimate direct selling or network marketing company from a pyramiding scheme. Let's all be very careful, let's all be knowledgeable about this, because I believe that it is only through proper education and training that we will be able to impart our knowledge to other people as well. The more people know about the legitimacy of our business, the better it will be for the entire industry. In the meantime, I look forward to seeing you all. Thank you, Levi.